Wednesday, 27th of July 2011, day 4 of the Lakes cycle tour. Right, it's just after 9:35 and I've just set off on today's leg, having spent a good half hour doing a bit of maintenance on the bike, which was needed. The transmission needed cleaning up, and the rear wheel needed realigning with one of the rear nuts tightening up, and the brakes needed adjusting. Alright, it's a mild morning. It's between cloudy and overcast. Had sun early on, but there's no sun now. So temperature's around about 16 degrees or so at the moment. Still with these northerly type winds, northwesterly, and they're quite light at the moment, but at least it's dry. I had a corn bunting again this morning, and lots of rooks and jackdaws around this way. Right, time to move on. I'm only about 7 miles from Richmond. Day 4 of the Lakes cycle tour. Right, this is file 2 of the day. Right, the time now is 13:50 and I've done 17 miles. I stopped off at Richmond for an hour, sat down for some fish and chips, and I also got some water, so I was there for about an hour. Around just beyond the Richmond area, it was a bit heavy going with some very steep hills, and before Richmond as well, I had quite a few steep hills. I think I've got over the worst of them now. Had to attend to the bike again, had to change the wheel nut. The one I had on, the threads were beginning to wear a little bit, and it was moving the back wheel a bit. So I put another one on, another nut, which seems to be tougher steel, so that should hold the wheel in place okay. Right, I should think I'm less than 5 miles from Barnard Castle, and then I've got my 10-mile hike up to Middleton, and then the 22 miles up Teesdale up to the final destination, Alston. Should get there for 8 o'clock hopefully. Wednesday, 27th of July 2011, day 4 of the Lakes cycle tour. Right, I'm at Egglestone Castle, rather Egglestone Abbey, and the ruins off, and I've just taken some photos of it. We're right next to the River Tees, which might be able to hear. It's only about 20 yards away from here, and it sounds pretty forceful. And it's quite a wide river, even at this stage. It's almost 14:50, and I've done 22 miles, and I'd say, yeah, I'm about 2 miles from Barnard Castle, and from Barnard Castle there's another 32 miles to do. So I better get shifting a little bit. Once I get up to Middleton, then I know what I have to do. Right. Wednesday, 27th of July 2011, day 4 of the Lake Cycle Tour. File 4. It's just after 1600 hours, and I've done 27.8 miles. I've got 5 miles from Middleton in Tees, so it gives me about another 27 miles to do. For the last 2 miles I was joined by another cycle tourist, but he's gone on ahead as I've gone and stopped off to do a few little minor repairs. It's really warm now, the sun's come out, clouds are cleared, the sky's cleared, and it must be nearly touching 20 degrees C. And it's very pleasant, and the Tees is going to be looking good, but it's all uphill now. About another 27 miles to do. Wednesday, 27th of July 2011, day 4 of the Lake Cycle Tour. File 5. Right, I'm speaking quite quietly because it's 23:30 and I'm in the youth hostel. Managed to reach the youth hostel just after 8:30. That meant doing 57 miles during the day, which was culminated in 4 days mileage of 261 miles. So I've got a room to myself, number 5 room. So I brought all my gear up and sorted it out. All my sweaty clothes I've managed to put into the dry room. I managed to go out, get some food. Also went into the Swan Inn for a pint of Guinness. Came back and made myself a nice big meal. And then came back to the room to finish sorting things out. The last hour's ride, or hour and a half's ride up through the Tees and onto Alston Moor was really good. The weather was fine. It turned out being really warm. My temperature was reading 24 on my cycle computer. I don't think it was as much as that. Very sunny. Many photos were taken. All the main mountain tops and hilltops could be seen. Right, so until tomorrow and the lakes. Thursday, the 28th of July 2011, day 5 of the Lake Cycle Tour, file 1. Right, the time now is almost 11:50, and I'm about 2 miles off the side top. On my way down into the Eden Valley. Right, I was up for about 8:20, so washed, had a light breakfast, set all my gear up. Most of my clothes had dried out, which was pretty good. So I've got no problems with dry, fresh clothes. And come about 10:15, I was away from the youth hostel. So I had a long drag up to the summit of Hart Side Top, which stands at 1,903 feet above sea level. So I stayed there for about 15 minutes, taking photos, having a look around, and then I've just come down a couple of miles on my way to Renwick. I've stopped off at a farm to take some photos of the lovely flowers that they have here. Birding wise, up to now it's been mainly swallows and meadow pipits. So I'm on now to the back end of Skiddaw. Thursday, the 28th of July 2011, day 5 of the Lake District Cycle Tour. Right, it's about 2:15 in the afternoon. Yeah, this is file 2, by the way, and I've done 20.4 miles, and I'm on my way to the back end of Skiddaw. So I've just gone over the M6 motorway. I haven't come through Lazenby, where I stopped off and bought some pies to eat and had a bit of a rest and got some water as well. It's still quite hilly in these areas, so the going is slow, and I'm just behind schedule. So let's hope it's not too hilly around the back of Skiddaw. Bird-wise, let's see what we had. A couple of buzzards of interest. Had 10 plus sand martins, which was a nice surprise. Usual meadow pipits and what have you, and nothing else out of the ordinary. Right then, Thursday, the 28th of July 2011, the 5th day of the Lake Cycle Tour. This is only the 3rd file of the day, mainly because I had quite a bit of cycling to do once I got round the back of. Right, the time now is 21 hours 25 minutes. I'm at a campsite. It's cost me £8 to pitch my tent. There are showers here, and hot water obviously and what have you. I've got great views of Saddleback or Blencathra. It looks just straight up from where the campsite is. So I'm about a mile further on from the Castlerig stone circle. So today that was 50.3 miles done, which was slightly ahead of schedule, which is pretty good. So we had a bit of rain from about 6 o'clock onwards, which made matters a little bit difficult because I was cycling around around the side of Skiddaw on quite a narrow, very hilly road which had a lot of gravel in it, so it could be quite dangerous. I had to be careful using the brakes because in the wet they weren't too great. Right, things of interest. I've got some really good photos today. All from going out from Alston with the climb up to Hartside top. There was good photos had then, and then coming down, photos across to the lakes, which it was a bit misty though. Around the back of Skiddaw, started to get some good photos, and then when I emerged around the back end of Skiddaw, come around to Keswick, got some very good photos of the Grassmore, Newlands area, and Cap Bowes and what have you, and Grisdale Pike. Seen at least 3 ravens today, which was pretty good. Nothing else of any special interest. Probably up to 3 or 4 buzzards being accounted for. Yeah, the usual swallows in big numbers. Not so many yellowhammers, greenfinches, meadow pipits as I've come over this way. Had a great spotted woodpecker, which was pretty good. But all in all, nothing special. Right. Until tomorrow. Friday, 29th of July 2011, day 6 of the Lake Cycle Tour, File 1. Right, the time now is 11 o'clock, and I've been cycling since just after 9:30, having left the campsite in pretty good nick after getting up at about 20 to 8. Right, I've had a long trek along the A66, lots of climbs, but fantastic views looking back of the Derwent Fells and Blencathra. Many photos have been taken. I also seen a raven, what would have been a raven, quite high up, flying over the face of Blencathra, so that was pretty good. So I've just come off the A66 and I'm at Troutbeck, so I'm on the road to Ullswater. All I've got to do today is about 4 miles for every hour, and I aim to camp out at around about 7:30. The weather's really nice, it's dry, nice cooling northwesterly wind again, very good views, no haze at all today, so all the outline of the mountains look really good. So if it stays like this for most of the day, there'll be lots and lots of photos taken. Right, that'll do for now. Friday, 29th of July 2011, day 6 of the Lake Cycle Tour. Right, it's just after 12:15, and I've done 13.5 miles, and now I'm down on the shoreline road at Ullswater, a mile or so, mile and a half from Patterdale, something like that, and the weather is really nice. I'm going to get something to eat at Patterdale, have a sit down meal, and also buy a couple of provisions, then set myself for doing the high climb out of Ullswater and down into Windermere. Friday, the 29th of July 2011, day 6 of the Lake Cycle Tour. Right, it's just before 6 o'clock in the evening, and I'm at Grasmere. 34.4 miles have been done. I've just cycled all the way around from Kirkstone Pass, taking the route down to in between Ambleside and Windermere via Troutbeck, and that brought me onto the main road. Came up through Ambleside, round the back end of Ambleside, next to Loughrig, onto the main road again by Rydale Water and Grasmere, and into Grasmere itself. Here I've eaten and I've bought a load of provisions as well. So that will set me up for the next couple of days at least. Many pictures and photos taken along the way. Friday the 29th of July 2011, day 6 of the Lake Cycle Tour. This is file number 4 of the day. It's 1913. I've done just under 40 miles and I'm at Thelmere Reservoir. It's very nice now. It's all calmed down. There's hardly any wind about. And I've started to do a little bit of a bird watch. Within the hour, I should be setting up my tent. And so I just might take it a little bit easy and try and do a proper bird watch for a change. And since I've come round here, we have a nice collection of conifer trees and silver birch and probably maple and a few others. Yeah, it's quite a mixture. And I think I've almost certainly seen a willow warbler and a good chance of seeing a redstart. So that's quite encouraging. So we'll see what else might be about. Coal tits have been heard every now and again, but otherwise it's pretty quiet. No wheat ears, very few meadow pipits. Not even a raven. Normally you can hear the ravens when they fly over, and except for this morning, not even a buzzard. Alright, signing out. Friday, 29th of July 2011, day 6 of the Lake Cycle Tour. Right, at about 20 past 8 this evening, I booked into the Dale Head camping site. This cost me £8 as well, so I've got my tent pitched up. Shortly after that, I had to work a little bit on the bike. The bike needed a little bit of nut adjusting on one of the front wheels, but that's been sorted. So it's about just before 10 o'clock now, and I've had a good meal and sorted most things out. The mileage at the moment stands at about 357 miles done. That's half of the projected 700 for the whole tour. So the last hour was pretty good coming around Thelmere. That was very good, and there's certainly a good chance that I did see a redstart and a wood warbler. Right, so it should be about 40 miles tomorrow. The hardest thing to do will be to get up over Honister Pass. I've got enough provisions to do me for tomorrow and for the day after at Westwater. So it shouldn't be much more than 40 miles. And then I have to decide on whether I spend a bit of time on the day of departure from Westwater, whether to go up to Wostow Head and spend an hour or two up there by England's biggest mountains. Right, so that should do.